17 minutes to 1 p.m. You're still watching Power Lunch Southern Africa. A new market intelligence report is challenging conventional thinking around South Africa's anti-illegal immigration tensions, arguing that businesses risk misreading the operating environment if they interpret every incident solely through the lens of xenophobia or Afrophobia. The report examines the impact on employers, local markets, and business continuity. Joining us now to unpack the findings is Tshwane, lead researcher at Reconnected Group Africa. So thank you so much for making the time to speak to us. Your report argues that businesses risk misreading the operating environment if they view every anti-immigration tension through the lens of xenophobia or Afrophobia. Take us through some of the evidence that led you to that conclusion.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having us. We at Reconnected Group Africa, we aim to become a research and intelligence-based business consultancy that is focused on the grounded truth. So our methodology for this report has been watching on the ground, having conversations on the ground, parliamentary reports, gazettes, postings, government statements, etc., as well as the communities and groups mobilizing themselves. We have researchers placed in those places, as well as social media listening. So we have been on the ground watching and listening, and we believe that it's so easy to use the terms xenophobia and Afrophobia because they are inherently political, versus tribalism are questions of identity as well as nationalism. So it's harder to weaponize those concerns when they fall in those brackets than the others. So what we found is that South Africans are not expressing a generic hate for foreigners or a indiscriminate attacks on different countries. Actually, there are specific countries, due to there being documented instances of the illegal migrants being tied to criminal syndicates. So it is just from what we've seen, it is simply not accurate to claim that this is xenophobia. Not saying that this isn't a tension that could lead to violence and restrictions, etc. But we cannot give the wrong medicine to the problem. We have to name it correctly so that you can address it correctly, especially in business.
Yeah. What are the biggest compliance or operational risks, in fact, that companies face, specifically companies that still fail to understand these dynamics?
I think it's more so what people are used to versus what people are going to have to get used to. You know, it's not a secret that not just in South Africa, but in Africa, you know, a few letters of intent and a handshake and you're good. So now you have to be aware of the growing backlash that can come from certain behaviors or certain business practices. This specifically, if we're talking about employing illegal immigrants in order to divert the Minimum Wage Act, that is not uncommon in business, unfortunately. Many bosses and investors have done that in order to keep the tax payroll or the payroll costs or other costs low in the business. So now we are seeing that with the pressure from the protests, the government are implementing different finding structures up to R1 million per business or per employer. We are also seeing that there are more funds and different restrictions around the kind of employees, the kind of employee programs that can be funded, and etc. So it is very important for you as a business owner to be aware of the new risks versus what you are used to being able to get away with.
Sure. Let's talk about that risk. What would you say is the most effective risk management in this environment for businesses?
I think there is two. I think number one, the cost of compliance is now cheaper than the cost of getting away with things. So it is better for you to have people internally trained in compliance, whether that is already the person you have under HR and bookkeeping, or you can get someone like us to be an advisory to come and oversee your compliance. And second thing is internal propaganda education. As we're seeing around the world, something that I guess the peripheral is not understanding is how a lot of these movements and these things move in communal areas, including the workplace, because a lot of workers cannot spot propaganda. So if there's more education around propaganda, then people will be able to spot it more. And three, sorry, it was three, not two. And thirdly, it would be to de-bottleneck your operations, because a lot of times these strikes don't happen all over the country. I know the news make it look like it's everywhere all at once, but it is certain high metropolitan areas. We saw that with the July unrest. We see that now. So if you de-bottleneck your operations, then especially when it comes to logistics and logistics hubs, then you'll be able to continue to operate with minimal disturbance in your supply chain, even through times of volatility.
Sure. Tshoko, I'm told I only have 2 minutes with you. Just to wrap up our conversation and looking ahead, do you see these tensions as a temporary phenomenon linked to economic pressures, or are they becoming a structural feature of doing business in South Africa and I suppose other emerging markets alike?
Honestly, I think this is the new normal, but not in South Africa alone. I think this is all around the working class and the global South. We see the protest in Albania against Jared Kushner's developments. We see the protests in America. We the No Kings protests. We see the protests in Bolivia against other anti-workers' rights unions. We see the protests in Argentina against changing regulations. I think that the working class has re-entered the chat, and people need to understand that even though there's been a system of elites circumventing rules of laws, community lands, etc., because the working class is more globally connected and individually educated and communally active than ever before, we need to understand that there's certain things that you're not going to get away with. So we need to rather think of this as a new normal rather than seeing it as like, what you call it, a doomsday thing. No. Around the world, if you strategize correctly to work with the working class and not against the working class, then your business will likely survive these times of volatility. But if your systems are built around exploitation, minimizing workers' rights, minimizing workers' participation, then that is, my guy, you might be left behind.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, you made the point that sometimes, the media tends to exacerbate the issues that are on the ground. So I suppose it is a call of action for people like us, like ourselves, that have to report to the public. We have to report what is actually happening. But